Alright, so this is the first time I'm ever doing this. I apologize if it doesn't turn out very well. I was watching some videos on YouTube today and I came across a video and I was kind of astounded that people are still pushing this old lie, and I found it a bit offensive that this Officer Tatum here is not only pushing an old lie, but he's pushing it while accusing others of being the liars. So let's take a quick look at his video and see what he has to say, and let me explain to you why he is a liar.
I told you the CDC was full of crap. This video is brought to you by tatumreport.com, tatumreport.com. Get the link in the description section. Make sure you go over there and subscribe just in case they want to kick your boy off the social media platforms. We already see what they did with Facebook, and we don't want that to happen. Like, subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell so you get notifications anytime I go live or make a video. Make sure you still subscribe to my channel. Hit the join button so you join the Tatum Squad. Like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen,
Alright, now the first thing that this guy does when his video starts up is he does a big push for you to like, for you to subscribe, for you to comment, for you to engage with his video. The reason for that is because videos that are engaged with get better rankings on the YouTube algorithm and are more likely to be recommended to people. He's asking you to do this to make his videos more popular because he wants to make more money. His number one priority is making money, and that is why the very first thing that he does in his video is make a pitch to promote himself. He doesn't care about honesty. He cares about making money.
told you. And most of us that have common sense understands that something smelled fishy from the very beginning. I'm talking about fish. Smell fishy. There is no way in the world that we are prioritizing a virus that's exactly the same, just about, maybe some nuances and differences, as the flu. I told you guys, the flu, 80,000 people died from the flu in 2018, I believe. Is it 60 or 80? I got to go back and verify my numbers. I believe it was 80. Almost 1 million people were hospitalized in 2018 due to the flu. The flu affects children at a much higher rate than COVID ever could think of. But instead, we shut our...
All right. Everything he just said is an outright lie. Number one, you're making a video specifically about this subject. How can you not look up the number before you make your video? You're content to just talk out your ass and make up numbers. Oh, the flu kills 80,000 people a year. No. You have no integrity, sir. Let's take a look at what the flu does. This is the CDC's website that tracks influenza data. Now give me a moment while I move my camera over to the other corner. And let's take a look at this influenza data. For 2010 to 2011, we had 37,000. Then the next year, 12,000. Then the next year, 43,000. Then 38, 51, 23, 38. None of these numbers are 80,000. So where is he pulling this number from? Oh, down here I see we have a year that says 61,000 and another year that says 34,000. But for some reason, these 2 years are separated from all the other data. Why could that be? Oh, look, there's an asterisk. There's another one, and there's another one, and then there's a line down here at the bottom that explains what that asterisk means. It means these estimates are preliminary and may change as data are finalized. So this 61,000 number isn't even a finalized number. It's a projection, it's an estimate, but it's not a finalized number. These are finalized numbers, and if you take these and you average them out, they will come to about 35,000 deaths. So we have about 35,000 deaths from influenza per year. What are we doing with coronavirus? Corona's at 187,000 deaths. So if we normally have about 35,000 deaths from influenza, and coronavirus has killed almost 190,000 people, that means it's roughly 5.5 times more deadly than influenza. This is clearly not just another flu. This man seems to be making things up and lying. Oh yeah, the kids. He mentioned the kids. How does COVID affect the kids as opposed to how influenza affects the kids? Because he says that influenza is way worse on the kids. Well, you know, the CDC also has this data here, where they break down how it affects people. And if we take a look, when we're coming up with kids under 4 years old, we've got measure the deaths in hundreds. 5 to 17, we're measuring deaths in hundreds. 18 to 4, suddenly we're measuring deaths in thousands. Once we get into adults, deaths in thousands. Once we get up to 65 plus, it's tens of thousands. So we have the same type of pattern that you're going to see here with COVID deaths, where it's very small and it builds up as you get older. Now, here's one problem with COVID deaths. We don't actually know how it affects children. When the pandemic set in, one of the first things we did was shut down the schools, lock up the children, and separate them, because we did not know what was going to happen and we wanted to protect the children. So the children haven't been in large social gathering situations. So we really have no idea what's going to happen. If only there was a way to tell. Like, if some of the schools opened earlier than other schools, then those first schools, we could look at what happened in those schools, and that would probably be a good indication of what will happen in all the schools. But some schools have opened. And the schools that have opened have all suffered massive increases in COVID among children. Some of the schools have had to even reclose because the infections were so rampant. What does this guy have to say?
Whole country down and got people walking around with masks on. The CDC said we weren't supposed to wear it at first. Now they want you to wear it. It makes no sense. And let me tell you this. They even shut down a corner store in 2018 when the flu was running rampant. The flu comes back every season, and they claim to have a vaccination for it. And it still kills 80,000, 20,000, 60,000 people every season. And they want you to believe that COVID is way...
Just a reminder, that number is 35,000. He's saying 80,000 based on pure ignorance.
more dangerous. They originally said it's going to be millions of people to lose their life. That did not happen. Now, explain to me this. If you told us not to wear a mask, the mask is supposed to be so effective today. Where's the accountability? Where is the accountability? But before...
Okay, let's address what he just said there about masks and accountability. Millions of deaths. Well, let's talk about the masks first. Yes, you're right. At the beginning, the CDC did say masks were not necessary. They didn't say don't wear a mask. They said you don't have to wear a mask. Later on, they took accountability for that and admitted that they only said this because they were trying to protect the supply chain for medical professionals. As the supply chain was beefed up and able to handle more load, they've come out and said that that was incorrect and we absolutely should be wearing masks. And you should be wearing a mask. How do we know we should be wearing masks? Well, it's called common sense. Doctors and patients have been using masks for hundreds of years, and they've been using them effectively. You're disregarding hundreds of years of science if you're refusing to wear a mask. It's basic common sense to cover your mouth and nose if there's a pandemic. People knew this in 1917, and in 2020, we have to convince ignorant idiots like this why they need to wear a mask, because they neglected to notice the accountability.
Before I get too deep into this, I want y'all to see what the CDC said about their own diagnoses, or at least their own statistical data, about how many people were actually affected and actually died from COVID-19. Not comorbidities, not people that had other stuff going on that they were gonna die from anyway, and they just so happen to have COVID as well. Roll with me to tatumreport.com so we can watch this.
All right, this is again more ignorance from this man. He does not grasp what a comorbidity is. He apparently thinks a comorbidity means that someone's going to die anyway and they just happen to get COVID on the way to dying. But that's not what comorbidity means at all. Comorbidity is a contributing factor. For instance, diabetes or HIV. These are diseases that people live with for very long times. Neither of these diseases are a particular death sentence. Let's take a look at some information about diabetes. If you have diabetes, well, how can you expect your life expectancy to compare with people in general? Well, men with diabetes generally tend to live to about 77, and women with diabetes about 81. How do people without diabetes do? Well, men live to about 83 and women to about 85. So it's going to take about 4 or 5 years off of your life. However, if you have diabetes and you get COVID-19, you have a good chance of dying within 2 weeks. So this man just doesn't understand what a comorbidity is. Something else he doesn't understand: influenza is affected by comorbidity. A large majority of influenza deaths are because the person suffering from it also has HIV. HIV doesn't kill. HIV destroys a person's immune system and allows something else, such as influenza, to kill that person. So he's trying to strip comorbidity from COVID, but include it with influenza. And even if we let him do that, and even if we said 60,000 people died from influenza without any other contributing factor, he still comes up at 1/3 the number of people that have died from COVID-19. It's just insane that people are still pushing this lie, and I can't imagine how stupid people have to be to believe him. Officer Tatum, you are a liar, a dishonest punk, and nobody should be listening to you.